So I'm going in chronological order in terms of releasing.
Yep.
I will. This is based on my opinion of what is the best Pixar films.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at the films in front of me, I feel like there's going to be a lot of S tiers, but I have to be quite harsh and quite honest with my critiques.
Yes,
So that's
sir.
how it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I explained it well. If not, then Google an S tier rank and read it.
All right,
So,
I
yeah.
got it. Let's do it.
All right.
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. All right, first one is the film that did it start it all, which is Toy Story. All right, I mean, let's be real. If it wasn't for Toy Story, we wouldn't have anything. There wouldn't be a Pixar. They revolutionized animation. I think that's an easy S tier for me.
Ooh.
Easy S tier, you know. Not only is it a great film, but it also pioneered animated films for the future. Bug's Life, easy S tier, like, easily. No.
Don't do it. You're just waiting for my reaction.
I know. Nah, there's like a little ongoing joke where I just keep frothing about Bug's Life. Bug's
Bugs
Life
Life is hype. I've seen it like 50 times maybe
It
throughout my
is.
childhood. Yeah.
It's a good film. I very much enjoy it. I think it's because of nostalgia base, but coming off the back of Toy Story itself, I think we're looking at between B and D. I wish there was a half so it can be put in there, but I think it more deserves to be in that C sort of tier. You know, it's like it's watchable, but it's not like, oh god, get this away. Like why does this exist for? So that's my reasoning for that. Now we get into Toy Story 2 with the most satisfying scene ever created in live action or animated film, and that is when Woody is getting a touch up. Now, this film obviously followed up Toy Story. It's Pixar's first sequel. It is a very fantastic film. I think it's 100% or 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. Can't quite remember. But it didn't quite reach, for me, it didn't quite reach the heights of Toy Story. Me personally, I do not think it is S tier rank. I think it is an A rank. It is a very, very good movie that is obviously pioneered Pixar as well, but it's not to the heights of Toy Story.
Yeah.
And now we get to Monsters Inc. See, this is crazy. When I was like putting this list in chronological order, I was like, wow, really? Is this? Did these films come this early? I thought there was so much more.
I know.
Monsters Inc. I personally love this film. It's probably one of my top 3 Pixar films of all time. So I have to reserve bias, otherwise it's just like an instant S tier for me. And this is, I feel this is where we really start to see Pixar's creativity, you know, a monster world that is in parallel with the human world, and there's a whole business based on children's screams. Like, I think the early, 10, 15 years of Pixar is just creativity to its max. For me, I think this is A tier. I mean, it shows a great friendship and relationship between Mike and Sully, who's the two main characters, and also serve a great and fantastic story as well, with a great score and everything else like that, and animation. What's that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Finding Nemo. This is another one. This is, I'd say, the first film where Pixar hits you in the feels. Just based on the opening scene where Nemo's mum dies, and then obviously Marlin trying to find his son who's been kidnapped and stuff like that, and then them finally reunionized, whatever. So that is a very good film, an emotional moment. So for me, I personally think this is an S tier type film. I feel this film further showed Pixar's animation game. Just mainly based because the entire film was underwater, and So James, what are your thoughts on this list so far?
I think you absolutely nailed it. I'm really impressed with your ability to be as objective as possible about this one, because I know how much you love Monsters Inc., but I still stick to the opinion that it is not top tier Pixar. It's right below second tier, as you put it here, which I think is great. In terms of Toy Story 1, I wouldn't mind it being relegated to A level. I think when you consider the legacy of what Toy Story is and what it did for animation and Pixar, the studio, it deserves to be S, but based on the film's quality alone, I would probably put that in the A one. Finding Nemo is the one where they kind of broke through with some kind of genius, which is where you've put it. ST, I think that's correct so far. But otherwise, I can't criticize it other than those little nitpicks that I just mentioned. So you're on a good pace so far, but we'll see where you go with this. We'll see where
Don't
you
worry.
go.
You know, it's all downhill from here, as they say.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, my main reason for Toy Story being an S tier is the fact that it is a good film, and also the fact that what it's done for not just Pixar itself, but the industry. So I took that into consideration when I chucked up an S.
Fair. I'll give you give that to you.
Another one where I have to absolutely be non-biased, and that's The Incredibles, which is probably my favorite film for Pixar. Superheroes. Yeah. How can you hate it? This is another one. This is the first film where humans have taken the main stage, have been the main characters in a Pixar film. We obviously had Andy, but he wasn't really a main character, and we've saw them not really capitalize on the superhero genre or superhero market. This was just at the tail end. I think Spider-Man and X-Men were really, really relevant back then. It released in 2004. So I think it's either A or B. I don't know where I want to put it. My personal feelings want to put it in A, but I want to put it in B. Nah, it's A. I think it's A. I think it's an A.
Okay. All right.
And now we have Cars. You know, Pixar has done toys. Pixar have done bugs. They've done monsters, fish, humans, and now they're going to animated talking cars. Yeah, this is Pixar. This film spawned Pixar's first. Yep. Nope, I lied. I won't finish that sentence. But second trilogy. You know, unfortunately, the quality of those films dropped. But we had
massively.
We have so many memes from Cars. You know, from Lightning McQueen's Ka-Chow to. I forgot the green guy. The green.
Chick Hicks, man. Tristan Cup, a winner.
Tristan, the lad. I think this film is a B. It's enjoyable to watch. You can watch it multiple times, and it's a semi-decent film. It's not like an A tier film, but you can still watch it without being like, oh god, this is a drag to get through. So that's what I think. 1, 2, go. And now we have Ratatouille, James's film that he loves so much. When we went to Italy and Europe, that's all he talked about. And he was like, oh, what if Remy's making our food and pass right now? And we just had to tell him to shut the hell up because no way a rat is back there in the kitchen. Hey, to be fair, I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Exactly.
But
it's peak creativity from Pixar. A rat that can cook.
Exactly. And that's why I think it's an A tier. It's a good movie, but the creativity in it and the thought of someone in Pixar thinking, let's base the movie on a rat that can cook. How do you even come up with this? It is so ingenious and innovative. So that's why I think it should deserve to go into the A tier. And now we have... See, this whole stretch of... I can't wait until after, Inside Out, because that's when we can start getting into the shit. But right now, I feel a lot of these are just going to be jammed into the S and A tiers. We have WALL-E.
Yeah,
that's the next one. A little robot that is pretty much, somewhat prehistoric for its model, and it falls in love with a newer robot, and it also shows somewhat of the demise of the human race. I think this is another A tier type film for me. How much have I added? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, last one. And now we have Up. This is another one of my favorites. I'm pretty sure it's in the top 5 somewhere for sure. This is probably Pixar's most emotional film to date. You know, you had that whole opening montage with Carl and his wife, Ellie. You know, obviously that whole montage of them going through just finding each other, going through love, and then marriage, and then death. And then we obviously see Carl throughout the film trying to fulfill his wife's last wish, which is go to some mountain or something. I haven't seen it in a long time. And then we also see, what's his name? The young guy, the Boy Scout. Can't think of his name. I know the
Ronald?
dog.
I don't know. Yeah.
Donald,
Doug.
I don't know. Doug, yeah, Doug's the man. See, for me, I'm going to put a little bit of bias into my decision, and I think it's A tier. I think it is
You
a
mean S tier?
yes,
Yeah.
S tier. Put it in S tier. Multiple reasons. It's a very fantastic film. It is, the character of Carl is developed very, very well in this film. You know, he goes from a grumpy old man to accepting a dog and a stranger child, even going as far to shot to this child's Boy Scout graduation pin thing. I don't know, I'm not American, we don't have this here in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And it's also obviously Pixar's most emotional film to date until we get to the next one, obviously. So that's my justification for S tier. James, any thoughts on this?
Oh, now you're starting to get controversial. I knew it would come. Like you said, downhill from here. All right, I would chuck Cars down to C grade because I don't see it above The Bug's Life, but I don't see it massively below it. So I think it fits right on that tier. You described Cars as one that you don't want to, immediately turn off. It's fun to watch and you can rewatch it. I find that it's the exact same with The Bug's Life. I think it fits right in there. It misses the mark to be in the B grade. I don't know how the sequels got worse because it was fairly flat for Pixar and doesn't have too much to say. The Incredibles, I would swap that with Up. Incredibles deserves to go on the S grade. The fact that you considered it for B grade blew my mind, but I kept quiet till now. I was like, no way, please don't do that. I mean, why I put it in the S grade above the A grade is because The Incredibles just has layers and layers of themes and subtext to it, and I think it's really impressive. It is the blueprint for what a Fantastic Four movie should be, and it's the height of any family or group of superheroes in any superhero movie ever, including stuff like Guardians and stuff. So it deserves to be in the S tier. Ratatouille and WALL-E, you got that absolutely perfectly. They're great, they're really good, but they do miss just something that gets them into that upper echelon of what Pixar is that very few of them have touched. So they fit perfectly there. Up, I love Up, and I think it hits all the emotional beats. The only reason why I don't have in the S tier right now is because the movie just didn't have too much to say. There wasn't a lot of subtlety or subtext behind, the themes of the movie, and it's just not one that, stays around in my head long after watching it, but a great viewing experience and obviously emotional as well. So yeah, you're doing all right. There's a little bit of a rocky segment there, but keep going. We'll see where you can go with this.
All right. Bear in mind that, sorry, I should have mentioned this at the start, guys. There's 28 films, so this is why I said this is a big segment, which is why we had somewhat of a shorter podcast today. All right. This one is a no-brainer. This is Toy Story 3, and for me, goes straight to S tier. This film capped off it had the perfect ending. The perfect ending of a trilogy, It was nostalgic. It came, I can't remember, I think it was 10 or so years after Toy Story 2. We had so much, character development within not only the toys and Woody and Buzz, but also Andy, wanting to give up his toys to Bonnie. We had the furnace scene where everyone cried, and as Leonard from Big Bang Theory said, if you don't cry in that scene, you're not human. That is why it's in S tier. Anyone that disagrees with me, I think you should just shut the hell up, because you are.
Gosh.
Next one is an easy D tier. This is Cars 2. Easy. There you go. We finally got to the shit ones, and that is Cars 2. Following not so much the heights, but the success of Cars. And they go with Cars 2, where the main character is not even Lightning McQueen, it's Mater, who is, for some reason, a spy. This is just like Despicable Me, You have Gru that is very, very incompetent, but somehow pulls it off. You got Mater, who is very, very, very incompetent, but for some stupid reason he pulls it off. So that is in the D tier for me. Next, we have Brave. Now, Brave is a film I have seen at least 3 times, and I can't remember anything about it. All I remember is the main chick is Ginger. Other than that, nothing. So for me personally, it's going to be in D. It has to be in D for me personally, just because I can't remember anything about this film. I can't even explain it to you guys because nothing is coming to my head right now. I'm thinking super, super hard right now. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. Nothing. Now we have Monsters University. Now I was excited when this one came up, obviously because Monsters Inc. was one of my favorites of all time, so I was excited to see this. This is a prequel of how Mike and Sully got their friendship, and it turns out that they were never really friends, they were more enemies, and then they grew to become friends. Great concept, but I think the execution wasn't executed really well enough for me. I do not think it's D. I do not think it's a bad movie, but I do think it is a C in terms of it's passable. You can watch it, you can have some fun with it, but there's a big missed opportunity there to make it into the B tier or maybe even A tier. What is that? 1, 2, 3. 2 more. Now we have Inside Out. This is another emotional film, which is funny because it's based on emotions. So much happened on this, and we'll get into Inside. We've already touched upon Inside Out 2, but with this one, we really saw the core emotions of a child. You know, fear, disgust, joy, anger, and sadness. And sadness was pretty much made out to be the villain in this film. And then obviously Joy came to realize that Riley, the character, needed some sadness in her life, and as well as all the other emotions as well. I think the voice cast was perfect for this. We had another emotional moment with Bing Bong, the pink elephant. Yep, another emotional one, another tearjerker right there.
Where does he put it?
S tier for me. I think I have to go S tier. Yeah, S tier for me. I think there's just so much going on in this film. It's a fantastic film, no doubt about it. And, you know, it captures on your emotional side. It captures a different side of Pixar's creativity in terms of emotions controlling this one character. Not just this one character. We see the emotions in multiple characters as well. Many of the parents. One more. And we have The Good Dinosaur. For me, I think this is an easy D tier one as well. It was an interesting concept when I first saw the trailer for it, and you know, a film about dinosaurs where they survive the meteor, but I think the execution was done absolutely poorly. The characters were pretty mid. I'm pretty sure the father died in this, and that was just non-emotional at all. The main dinosaur was annoying. I don't know if it's because of the voice actor and his scrawny little voice, or if it was poorly written. But yeah, I think it is D. I'm a big dinosaur fan. That's why Jurassic Park is one of my favorite films of all time. So anything with dinosaurs I can get on board with. But with this one, I was super excited and I was super disappointed when it came out.
Yeah.
All right, James, you said oof when I put Inside Out in S tier, so no doubt you disagree with that one. But what are your thoughts on this third round?
Ooh, I think you had a 6 here, actually. Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah. All right. I'll break it down then. Toy Story 3, yeah, S tier. Probably Pixar's best movie. Absolutely deserves that top tier, without a doubt. Cars 2 and D, that's easy for me. You know, I got into F1, obviously learned who Lewis Hamilton was, liked him, but Lewis Hamilton and F1 cannot save Cars 2 from being an absolute joke of a movie. Confession time, I haven't seen Brave, can't comment. I'm fine with it being in D. I would question if it was an S, but I can't really make any judgment there. And now looking at this, maybe Cars was right to be in B, and I would promote Bug's Life to be in B, because Monsters University is not in the same tier as A Bug's Life, but it's better than Cars 2. So I think it fits in there properly. And The Good Dinosaur, I would chuck in line with Monsters University. They're watchable.
So you'll chuck it in C?
Yes, I would chuck Good Dinosaur in C. And that, yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, and I'll put Bug's Life in B. Just because The Good Dinosaur is easily better than Cars 2. I tried to watch Cars 2 again. I got through like half an hour. I can't watch it. It's awful. Monsters University and Good Dinosaur is something I can put on. I'll be somewhat engaged, but not as entertained as Cars or Bug's Life. So I think that's a good tier for those kind of movies there. Inside Out being S tier. Oh, it's a tough one. I can't knock you for it because it's a great film. No doubt about it. The S and A tiers they're all great movies. I would personally have it an A tier. It's missing the magic that creates a Pixar masterpiece. It's just a point below it. Just from being that upper echelon of what Pixar is in terms of, I just can't have Inside Out and Toy Story 3 being on that same kind of tier. So yeah, I would have it an A, and it seems like A is going to have a very long list of movies, at least in my opinion. So yeah, you're doing okay.
It is, and I just realised you are right. I probably should put this in A, considering my comments about Inside Out too. So I think I actually might do this. James has persuaded me to put it into A.
Very nice.
So it's now an A. So you guys, the next screenshot, you will see it in S, and you'll see it drop down into A, because unfortunately this is not live, but we'll figure the kinks out one day. All right, next one is Finding Dory, another sort of legacy. You could say a legacy film. There's quite a bit of decades in between Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. This one's obviously Dory finding her parents, where she came from and stuff like that. She went on a whole adventure. She went into like a SeaWorld type thing. Those of you that don't know what SeaWorld is, it's like an amusement park but with animals, so pretty much a water zoo with no rides. So yeah, for me, when I first watched it, I thought it was really, really good. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was probably an A tier, but rewatching it again, I still think it's really, really good, but I don't have that same passion as these other 5 films up here already. So I think it's on that Cars level for me. I think it's better than Monsters University in terms of a legacy sort of sequel type of thing, or prequel in Monsters University's case, but I just don't think it's quite up in A tier. Cars 3. It's another one that I barely remember. I definitely do know that it's better than Cars 2. So I don't want to put it in D. But I very, very briefly... Oh, this is the one where it was super, super dark. I remember the trailer. I remember we seen Lightning McQueen absolutely like bail and crash, and it was like, yo, Cars is going dark. And it just turns out that Lightning McQueen is just getting old. You know, it's one of those sports films, you know, a player playing past his prime, LeBron James, maybe. Who knows? I'm not a basketball guy. I just thought I'd take a dig at him, because why not? So for me, I think this is on C. There's some interesting things to be watching this film, and now seeing it along Bug's Life, I think you are completely right, and I probably should put it into B, which is probably what I'm exactly going to do right now, because this is my list, and I can do what I want, because it's not finalized yet. This is why James is here, to give his points to convince me, or, you know, talk some sense. But yeah, I just can't see Cars 3 in the same tier as A Bug's Life for me. But Cars 3 is obviously not D tier, in my opinion as well, because that D tier is Y, like I said before. And now we have Coco. Now this is Coco is a film that I personally am not a big fan of. I'll watch it. I'll watch it if it's on. I'll watch it if someone else is watching it. If someone invites me over to a movie night, I'll watch it. But I won't go out of my way to watch it. The only time I would watch it is if I'm going to rewatch all these Pixar films, which I probably will do one day. So I can't quite either reserve my judgment feeling for putting it into the lower tier films. I definitely know it's in A or B for me, because it does tell a really good story about life and death and that message across for me. So for me, I think it's in that B tier. I think it's a good film. It's not for me, but it's not, you know, the top notch of Pixar. And I would say the same as well for our next film, which is Incredibles 2. I think it's in the B tier. I think it's not quite to the heights of Incredibles or those other films. It's pretty much very similar to all the other legacy films. It is good, but not great, and it's obviously better than Monsters University and Cars 2, 3 as well. And obviously, James had an experience in that screening as well, which I won't share. That is what, 1, 2, 3. There's still one more. We'll do 2 more. Fuck it, we'll just wing it. 2 more. Now we have Toy Story 4. This is a film that, when it first released, we said it multiple times on this podcast. We were like,
Yep.
why? Why is this even here? How can you beat that ending? And then they come along and they beat that ending. I so want to put an S tier because mainly on the fact that they hit lightning twice. You know, like that is so rare that you see, not in just animated films or film, but just in films in general. Like, when do you see a perfect ending done twice? But then again,
Yeah.
I also know that it's not as good of a film as obviously the ones in there now. I am gonna put it in S tier, but S tier light.
Ooh.
It's S tier light, and the only reason why it's an S tier light is, like I said before, because of that ending. That ending was absolutely fantastic. No one thought they could capture lightning in the bottle twice. And also that animation. I mean, me and Kind, after we watched Inside Out, we talked, Despicable Me 4, we talked about animation. And we also discussed Toy Story 4. That scene with the rain looked super, super realistic. It's as if they went out on a rainy day. And then also like the detailing on the dogs and the cat, and also Bo Peep's animation with the reflection on her porcelain as well. So I think there's multiple factors in this, which is obviously the ending and capturing lightning in a bottle again, and also the animation, and also the fact that it's a good film. That is my justification for S tier. And then we have Onward. Okay, we're getting into the COVID movies. Actually, I'll stop right there because now we're entering the COVID area. So, James,
Alright.
this is Pixar pre-COVID.
Pixar pre-COVID. All right, let's see what you've added. Cars 3 in C tier. I think that's perfect. Having the first one in B, the third one in C, and the second one in D. That's perfect for them. You added Finding Dory. I think that's right. I wouldn't be mad if you put that in C tier as well. I think it's pretty weak overall, but having it in line with the first Cars movie seems appropriate for it. Coco, I would have it in A tier, but if you were to rank all the A tier movies, it would be on the lower end of those A tier movies. I just think Coco outmatches all those movies pretty easily. It's not one that personally hits for me, but if I look at it in terms of a film, I think it's really well done. Has one of the best plot twists for an animated movie ever, so I would have it in that A tier, even if it is one of the weak ones of those. Incredibles 2, I haven't really been kind to this movie, but I think B tier is alright. Lower end of the B tier list because I just think it's really weak, and I just watched the first one and watched the second one, and there's just a total difference of quality. And just having it not have a time jump in it, I think it didn't do favors for it. Toy Story 4, I would have it in A tier, but I wouldn't be against that because Toy Story 3 obviously stands above all the Toy Stories, and Toy Story 1, 2, and 4 are all perfectly in line in terms of quality, with 1, 4, 2 being the quality order, in my opinion. But hey, if this was my way, dude, I would be much more stricter. I would probably only have Finding Nemo and Toy Story 3 being the only S tier ones right now. So, yeah, I can't knock you for those ones. It's shaping up to be well. It's shaping up to be well. I like it so far.
All right, and now we enter COVID era, and we enter Onward, which is a film with Tom Holland and Chris Pratt in it. Now, this is a film that came out just as world went into lockdown, right? Like, we managed to see it, and then pretty much the next day, boom, country's locked down. No one can go see it anymore. I've only seen it that once, and I remember jack all about it. All I can remember is that Tom Holland was annoying, and Chris Pratt was even more annoying. So for me, I have to give it into D tier. I have to watch it again to see if it will change, but based on what I saw, I wasn't that impressed with it. Tom Holland's character was like obsessed with D&D or something similar off that. Well, I don't know. I can't even remember. He has magic somehow. I don't know whether it was from his dad or mum, and then they go on an adventure. I don't know. That's all I know about this film. So yeah, and now we enter Soul, which is it's a wow movie. It is a movie that no one really thought an animated studio or a kids movie could really go. You know, exploring that realm of life and death, and actually showing that death as well on screen.
Yeah.
I know you took a lot away from this film, and when I first watched it, I thought it was fantastic as well, and I thought the score was perfect as well. So for me, I'm going to chuck it in A tier. And then we get to Luca. I'm just going to run through all these movies. There's like 4 left, and then we can get your thoughts.
All right.
So just remember from onwards.
Mm-hmm.
Hey. Then we have Luca. This is another one where when it was first announced, we were like, oh yes, this has potential to be Pixar's, another good Pixar great release, and it was somewhat underwhelming. I was quite underwhelmed with it. I thought it had a really good concept, but the way it was executed and stuff like that, it just wasn't so good, and I can barely remember it as well. I feel a lot about these recent COVID films is that I can't remember much about it.
Exactly, yeah.
Because it just didn't impact you enough.
They're so forgettable.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So for me, Luca, I don't think it's D tier. I don't think it's a bad movie. I just think it's forgettable. So I'm going to chuck it in C tier for me, because I do remember bits of it. I don't see anyone coming at me saying, oh, you just chucked Brave in there because you can't remember it. Yeah, but at least I can remember something from it, which is mermen and a friendship that is way, way too close.
Gosh.
And now we get to Turning Red. Now, I believe this is the first film that released when we were starting to open up. The world was starting to open up, and we were starting to get some more, freedom in our lives. Although there was restrictions in cinemas at this time, Turning Red was one of those. I remember nothing about this film except for the meme of the massive ass panda coming through the city. That is one that I remember, and then just and the other thing I remember is the friendship between the main character and her friend group. Again, I don't think it is B tier worthy. I don't think it's D tier worthy. I think it just fits perfectly fine in C. It's a serviceable film that you can watch and have fun with, but at the end of the day, as soon as the movie's finished, you forgot what the start was all about. Lightyear. This one is a very, very, very easy D tier, and I do not think James is going to even dispute that. This is the first Toy Story spin-off. I think this is Disney Pixar, not pure Pixar. I could be wrong. Can't remember. But yeah, the trailers. This is Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear, and this is set. I can't remember. Is it set on the TV series of Buzz Lightyear, or is it set on the actual character of Buzz Lightyear? I can't remember. This is how shit the film is.
It's set on what Buzz Lightyear is, the character, not the toy.
And in this film, it's revealed that Buzz's future self is actually Zurg, and he lands on a... If you guys come at me with spoilers, I just get out. Get out. This is a shit film. Why are you coming at me with this? But it turns out that the planet that they land on, his future self is in it, and the only word that the creatures on that planet can pronounce Buzz's name is Zurg. Don't even know how that makes sense, but it is what it is. But whatever, we'll move on. Elemental. This is one that had a rocky box office, but then when it opened, and then it just legged it out into, into success. It was the success story of last year. Last year? Yeah, last year. Me, personally, when we both watched it, I thought it was a really great film. I love elements, which is why Avatar Last Airbender is one of my favourite TV shows of all time. I love anything to do with elements. And I think Elemental just hit that. We saw a great dynamic and, Romeo Juliet sort of story between James's favourite character, Wade Ripple, and Ember.
Love Wade Ripple.
He does. I thought the whole concept was done really well, just mainly in terms of the fire and water. I think the other elements, such as, I think in this it was referenced as wind and earth, obviously, they took a bit of a sidestep, but I think the main story and the main focus is between the two key characters, and we saw it throughout the entire film. I really want this on 4K. Unfortunately, when this film dropped, they announced that they will no longer release Disney stuff in New Zealand or Aussie, so we had to go through Amazon and other parties to try get it, which is a shame, because I would have really loved this. So for me, I think it's in B tier. Alright, and now we get into our last film, and that is Inside Out 2, one that we've both recently seen. We both thought it was absolutely fantastic. We thought it it was just good. You know, it was really, really good. It didn't try to outdo the original. It didn't try to go under. It didn't try to cram so much more into it. It's just very, very good, and it's very, very relatable as a teenager and as an adult. You know, I still can I get into spoilers or nah?
Nah, we'll keep it silent for now.
Keep it subtle. It's a really good story between the emotions and Riley and how it plays out. Unfortunately, I can't give my full thoughts because it's only been released for 6 days and it's making $430 million. And if I were to spoil it for you, then it ain't going to reach that 1 billion, 1.3 or 1.5. So
yeah, you're the influence for it.
I am. So for me, I'm going to chuck it an 8 here. I think it is, my personal opinion, I enjoyed it a lot more than Inside Out 1. I think it is better than Inside Out 1. I might have to rewatch both again to fully cement my decision. But for now, just because Inside Out 2 is so recent, I think it's better in there, which is why I dropped Inside Out from being S to A after what you said, and then also seeing that Inside Out 2 was also on the card. So yeah, that is our Pixar, my Pixar tier list. James, what is any thoughts, comments on the COVID era movies and just the list overall?
Okay, let's digest this one. So we started with Onward. See, I wish there was a tier in between C and D because I don't have Luca or Turning Red in line with Cars 3 and Monsters University. I think they're below that, but they're not to the, level of bad that Cars 2 is, or even The Good Dinosaur. Like, they are semi-watchable, but you're right, dude. I don't remember anything from them, really. They're completely forgettable movies, but the fact that I don't have them on the same level as Monsters University and Cars 3, which I can remember, I would chuck them in D level just for that fact alone. That's probably where I get a little bit controversial with this list. So yeah, Turning Red and Luca, they both go down there. I would have to rewatch them to reassess them in this list format here. Onward, I think that's fair as well. I at least remember stuff from that, and yeah, not a good movie. Lightyear, Lightyear might be the worst movie Pixar's ever done. You know how much I hated the idea of Lightyear when it came out. I was fuming whenever it was brought up in conversations with us and Kyan. I would just be fuming. I hated it, and I'm glad that it sucked because it didn't deserve to be around. Anyway, so yeah, easy D tier for that one. What else did you have in here? Soul. I would have it in S tier.
I thought you would.
Yeah, I would have it in S tier. The only S tiers for me would be Finding Nemo, Toy Story 3, and Soul. I would have Soul first or second best Pixar movie of all time. I would probably go first movie. I would say it's the best movie just because, sure, kids can watch it, man, but this applies to, this applies to adults more than anyone else. This movie hit me so hard. What it says about life, the meaning of life, living with purpose, and just enjoying life for what it is. I think it's probably the most profound Pixar movie. Maybe not the best. I just think it has the most to say of all Pixar movie, and it hits it in well. The animation in it is flawless. Like, there's a shot of New York. It looks like a real shot of New York. So it's just crazy in what they do. But Toy Story 3 or Soul, they're top for me in terms of Pixar. Inside Out 2, I think you got it perfectly in A tier there, right alongside the first Inside Out. I still haven't quite made my mind in terms of which one I prefer. I think I got to watch them, but in my mind, because I saw Inside Out earlier this year, they're just so similar to me that I can't really differentiate between the two. And that's not a bad thing because they're both great movies. And then it comes to Elemental. Again, this is where another tier is needed, where it can fit in with Coco, because Elemental is clearly above Finding Dory, Cars, Bug's Life, and Incredibles. I would put it in A tier, but at the bottom side of A tier, I think Elemental, it's not about the elements. I think the concept is lame, it's unoriginal, and it is not creative. What is great about Elemental is, the love story and the migrant story told from, Fire's point of view. I think it's just, and it hits all the feels along the way as well. So I think it's great. It's just, not at that level. So, yeah, but it's one that I can't knock you for being in B tier either. If you could order it from left to right, then it would probably be a little bit better. But it's a good list here you got. Nothing egregious. nothing egregious. Yeah,
It's all
like
serviceable.
it is serviceable. There's nothing that's like two tiers wrong in terms of like, it's an A tier, it needs to go down to C tier. If any changes need to happen, it's either one tier up or up or below. So yeah, I think you hit the marks here. I like this segment idea. I think I might have to borrow it sometime. Hopefully we can make it a live, watch it live.
Yeah. We'll work on to that one day, but for now, this is the way it's going to roll. We'll do screenshots and chuck it up so you guys know what it's all about. If you guys like this segment, let us know for sure. And if you have any ideas of other film franchises or even directors, actors, their filmography, just don't pick someone like Robert De Niro or Michael Caine, because I'll just have way too many to filter through. Yeah, any suggestions, head over to X or Instagram, flick us a DM and let us know, or go down in that comment section right below. If you scroll just a bit, let us know, and we will definitely do this for sure. And while you're down there, you might as well hit that like and subscribe button, because you're already there, and why not? You'll do us a lot of favors and help, and we will appreciate you for that.